Okay, keep in mind that my numbers might be different from yours because when I created yours, I scrambled the questions, I think. Anyway, here's the first question. When you divide a decimal by a decimal, what's the first step? Well, first step is to always move the decimal in the divisor the number of places necessary to get rid of it. And remember, when you get rid of it, your problem looks like this then, 304. And then after that, you should also move the decimal in the dividend by the same number of places, 1, 2. Okay, divide, then round your answer to the nearest 1. Here's the problem, 0 and 66/100ths divided by 3/10. Believe it or not, the first step is kind of strange. Well, when you look at this problem, it has two parts. You have to divide and then round. Well, 9 times out of 10 people will do the division and probably do it right, but they'll forget about the rounding. So what do? Well, if you're taking a computer test, in the little box where you put the answer, put a reminder in there. Round. Like that. That way you won't forget. Okay, the next step after that is to realize that the dividend and divisor, when they're written like this, they have to be written kind of like in the opposite direction when you put it under the bar here like this. So what do I mean by opposite direction? I mean that the 0.3 is going to go over here in the divisor, so 0.3, and the dividend will go over here, 0.66. All right, well, the next step is to move the decimal point on the divisor. So how can we get rid of the decimal? We just move it to the end, one place. And then right below it, rewrite the problem. So you have the 3, and because you move the decimal to the end one place on this guy, the divisor, the dividend, you'll do the same thing. Move it one place. Now, it's not necessarily going to be on the end. The most important part here is remembering if you move this one place, you move this one place. So what do we have now? We have 3 into 06.6. 06.6. Now, that probably looks a little bit funky to you, and it should, because 06.6 isn't a number written like that very often. So what we'll do is we'll just rewrite it again. I know it's kind of a pain, but, you know, good things come to those who do things patiently and slowly and accurately. So we're just going to write 6.6 like that. You don't need a 0 in front of a whole number. Now after that, the next step is to realize that there's a decimal here, so you have to put one up on top too, like this. And now that we're all done with that, we can start dividing. So I'm going to actually come over here and do the long division part. Here we go. So 3 into 6.6. 3, 6.6. Divide, put your answer up, multiply, put your answer down, subtract, put your answer down, and then bring another number down. 3 into 6 is 2. But look what I forgot to do. When I transferred up there, I forgot to put the decimal up like I did down here. Anyway, continuing now. Now 3 into 06. Divide, put your answer up, multiply, put your answer down. There it is. Subtract, put your answer down. Now you're at 0, and there's no more numbers to be brought down. You're good. 2.2 is your answer. Now the last step, I'll come way over here now and do, is to check your answer. Using multiplication, I used to call it the big G. You know, you make like the letter G, and you go like this. You do this number, the 2.2, times the 3, plus any remainder had better equal this. Well, let's look at this problem. We have 2.2 times the 3, right? There is no remainder, and it needs to equal this. So let's just multiply these two, and if you get this, we're in great shape. So 2.2 times 3, 2.2 times 3. Remember, when we're multiplying with decimals, it's set up the exact same way as if you were multiplying without decimals. For example, if you have 22 times 3, how do you write it? Like this, correct? you line up everything on the right. Well, notice how it's written with decimals. You line it up on the right. So we have 6, and then 3 times 2 again is 6, and we have a decimal in here. Since there's only one decimal place in both factors, there's none in 3. Nope, get rid of that. But there's a decimal place in 2.2. That means there needs to be a decimal place in our answer. So we would put it right here, 1 decimal place. So what did we say? Over here, way off to the right in red here, I said that this number times this number plus any remainder had better equal this number, right here, 6.6. And does it? Did we get that? Yeah, we got 6.6. And what does that mean? Does 6.6, is that our answer? No, that's just the number we used to check, remember? So the answer we really got was 2.2 over here, correct? Now let's put 2.2 in our answer box up here, right? Oh, wait, there's a little message in there. It says round. Oh, yeah, we have to round 2.2 to the nearest 1. So way over here in the bottom left in blue, 2.2 to round to the nearest 1. First step, find the ones place. If the number to the right is 5 or more, is it? Nope. If the number to the right ain't 5 or more, it's not, right? Come on back home and leave it alone. Then just make the rest of them zeros. So we have 2.0 as our final answer, right? No. Yes and no. We always like to write numbers like 2.0, anything with a decimal and zeros after it. We want to have just the whole number by itself. We'll put a 2 in here. Boy, am I glad I put this rounding thing in. Don't forget, you have to get rid of your little reminder there. Number 3, 16 and 5/10 divided by 0 and 3/100. Step 1, there's nothing special about this. They just want you to divide. I looked at the directions. So we really don't have to put any reminders in our answer box. Here we go. First step is to write the problem out correctly. Well, remember, this guy goes on this side, and this guy goes over here. So we have a new problem written like this. 0.03 is on the outside now, and 16.5 is here. Next step, we need to get rid of this decimal on the outside. We don't divide with divisors on the outside that have a decimal, so you have to move it 2 places to get it at the end. What's so special about the end? If you put a decimal at the end of a whole number, you can just get rid of it. It doesn't do a thing then. So I'll put a 3 down here. I'm rewriting it. Now, since I moved this, let me get my red pen out, this decimal 2 places to the right, I've got to move this decimal 2 places to the right. Yikes, I only see 1. So here we go, 1 place. That would be 2 places, right? What do you think we could put in this little curly Q here, this little blank? Oh, 0, of course. So now we can write inside 1, 6, 5, 0. Now, do you need the decimal point at the end of a whole number, like right there? No, you can leave it there if you want while we're dividing, but it's not necessary. Now, if you'll notice, I was working over here, but then I decided to come up here. Why do you think I did that? Well, I was running out of space, and when it comes to math, organization and being neat and taking your time are really important. So don't jam things together. Let's divide now. 3 into 1,650. Well, 3 doesn't go into 1, so I'll put a 0 there. It goes into 16 5 times. Divide, put your answer up, multiply, put your answer down, subtract, put your answer down, that's a 1. And then bring another number down, that's a 5. 3 into 15 goes 5 times. Divide, put your answer up, multiply, put your answer down, subtract, put your answer down, and then bring another number down. That's another 0, right? Now, a lot of you might be thinking you're going to stop right here, but as I've told you before, if you follow the song, you cannot go wrong. So what was the last step that I did? Let me go backwards. I said I got, let's see, subtract, put your answer down, and then bring another number down. That's a 0. So we have to keep working here, and here's why. We have more space up here, don't we? So you just divide 3 into 0. Well, that's just 0, isn't it? Divide, put your 0 up. Multiply, put your answer down. Subtract, put your answer down. There's no more numbers to be brought down, so we're done. It's 550. Let's check our answer by, if you recall, multiplying this guy times this guy, adding any remainder, but there isn't any. It had better equal this guy right there. So I'll come down here, 550 times 3. 3 times 0, 3 times 5 is 15. 15 again, and 16. I got 1,650. Now, is that right? Sure is. So in our answer box, what are we going to put? 1,650? That would be the most ridiculous thing in the world. That's not the answer. The answer is up here, right? Okay, now, I want to tell you that when you're doing your homework, you're taking a test, this is the kind of thing you want to look for. Make sure that you're putting the correct answer in. Okay, number 4. Directions say divide, round to the nearest one. Multi-step problem. You got to divide it, and then you have to round it to the nearest one. Do you remember what I said? In your computer, or if you're doing a paper test, on the answer line, put a little reminder, round. Just going to put that in there. Type it right in, or write it down. All right, let's write the problem down. And it is 0.462, which is 0 and 462 thousandths, get that THS in there, divided by 0 and 2/10. Next step. Think of it this way. So I would want my 0.462 over here, this, and my divisor will be 0.2. Next step, get rid of your decimal points. Move it to the end and it's gone. Rewrite. I moved it one place here. I'll move it one place here. So now I have 0.462. Now wait a second. When was the last time you had a whole number with a 0 in front of it? Well, let's not do it yet. So what I'm going to do is just move this problem in red up to here, and I'll write it without the 0 in front of the 4, because it doesn't do anything, does it? You could actually divide this with that in there, and it wouldn't hurt it, but it might confuse you a little bit. So here we go. First step, when we get that written, is to put your decimal point up here. Don't forget about that. Divide, put your answer up. Multiply, put your answer down. Subtract, put your answer down. And then bring another number down. Divide, put your answer up. Multiply, put your answer down. Boy, I wish I could sing better. Subtract, put your answer down. That's 2, right? And then bring another number down. Divide. You got to divide 2 into 2. It goes once. Multiply, subtract, 0. There are no more numbers to be brought down. Okay, so our answer, and I'll go ahead and circle it so don't forget, we think our answer is going to be this, right? But let's check it. And remember how we check these things? Big G. So 2.31, or 2 and 31 hundredths. If I multiply that by 2, it had better equal 4.62. So there's 2, there's 6, and there's 4. Now, remember, you have to deal with the decimal places in each factor. This factor has 2. The number 2 down here doesn't have any decimal places, so we have to have 2 decimal places in our answer. Right there, 4.62. Hey, look at that. It equals 4.62. So let's put our answer in. Oh, it says round up here. So what do I have to round to? The instructions say nearest 1. So if my answer is 2.1, 0.31, and I need to round to the nearest 1, I underline the nearest 1. Here we go. Here's the ones. If the number to the right is 5 or more, nope. If the number to the right ain't 5 or more, come on back home and leave it alone. Leave that as a 2. Then just make the rest of them 0. So we have 2.00, which is written like this, just a 2. All right, step 1. It's not a multi-step problem, so you don't have to write anything in your answer box to remind you. Here we go. Remember, this guy goes under the hood, or whatever you want to call it, in the den. So we'll have 18.6 here. And the divisor will be 0.12. All right. Next step. Can't divide with decimal divisors. 1, 2. That makes this a 12 now instead. Divided into, well, I need to move this 2 places. That would be 1, that would be 2. But I have an empty spot there, so I need to put a 0 in here. Now I have 1, 8, 6, 0. Here's a little tip for you. I never, ever, ever put commas like this in my long division work because it really doesn't do anything for you having it there. In fact, it actually acts as a distraction, so just don't even bother with it. All right, now let's divide, right? Let's see, get my pen out. 12 doesn't go into 1, so I'll put a 0 there. Does it go into 18? Sure, 1 time. Divide, put your answer up, multiply, put your answer down. Subtract, put your answer down, and then bring another number down. How many 12s are in 66? Well, I know that 5 times 12 is 60. Divide, put your answer up, multiply, put your answer down. Subtract, put your answer down, and then bring another number down. Got to keep going. 12 into 60 is 5. Hey, there we go. Multiply, put your answer down. Subtract, put your answer down. Okay, now we're done. We think our answer is going to be 0.155. I do remember telling you guys once before that in the answer box up here, so you don't make a mistake with putting the wrong answer in after you check it. For example, you might end up putting 1860 in there after checking it. So what you can do is you can put the answer in. Now, the answer technically says 0.155, right? Well, we all know that you don't need a 0 preceding a whole number, so just put 155 in there. All right, so let's see if it's right. Let's multiply this guy by this guy, and if it is right, it'll equal this guy. So come over here, 155, don't cram your work together, times 12. That's 10, that's 11, that's 3. Next step, give you a little way to remember so you don't forget everything. Erase, because you're done with that. Add a smiley face. Now, 1 times 5, 1 times 5, and 1 times 1. Add them, 6, 8, 1. Is that equal to the dividend? Sure is. So our answer, this guy, is correct. And we already have it in the answer box up here. All right, number 7. Before I wrote this down, I just remembered that I forgot to tell you something, that when you write the problem down, you should make sure you've written it down correctly. I just looked up and did that because I'm so used to it from doing it years and years. So make sure it's written down correctly. So you don't have to put these little arrows in like this. That's just to help you to remember what goes on the inside and what goes on the outside. So it's 0.04, that's 4 hundredths, by the way, divided into 3 and 822 thousandths. All right, so next step, realize that you can't divide with a divisor. It has a decimal, so you have to move it to the end. That'll get rid of it. Rewrite, that's 4. I moved it 2 places on the left over here, so I should move it 2 on the right. Here's my new place. Rewrite 3, 8, 2.2. Next step, put the decimal up here. Right, here's the directions: divide, round answer to the nearest tenth. So I see it's a two-step problem already, so I'm going to want to put a little reminder in my answer box, not so I don't forget to do the second step, which is to round. There we go. Now I'm going to write the problem down, and I'll check to make sure I've written it down correctly. 14 and 4/10. Now, if you're working on a computer screen for a test like we often do, make sure you enlarge your screen. It can really make things easier to see. All right, I'm looking at my problem, 14.4 divided by 0.4. Good, I'm ready to go. So I put my divisor out here, 0.4. My dividend goes inside. I recognize that this is a problem where you have a decimal in the divisor. I move it to the right one place so it goes away. So now I have a new problem, 4 divided into, well, I moved the decimal place once here, so I got to move it once here. 4 into 144. I'm not going to put the decimal point in because you don't need it for a whole number. All right, notice I moved my problem up to the left-hand corner here because I didn't want to run out of space. Take as much space as you can. It's, paper is inexpensive, and we can recycle it. So now it's time to divide here. 4 into 1 is 0. 14 is 3. That's 12. That's 2. And that's 4. Divide, put your answer up, multiply, subtract 0. So your answer is just 36. Notice that we got rid of both decimals by moving them to the end. They're both in the end position, so your answer won't have a 36 in it. So hopefully that's our answer, right? So I'm going to get ready to check it, though, first. This times this had better equal that. Here I go, 36 times 4. That's 24. That's 12. That's 14. 144. Does it equal that? Sure does. So my answer is up here, which is what? 0.36, but we put 36 in. Oh, but wait. There's a reminder. Round. What do they want you to round it to? The nearest tenth. Okay, well, this is kind of confusing. I don't see any decimal places in here. But we can go like this, can't we? Can't we always add zeros after the decimal point? Annex them as the word, or append. So let's find the tenths place. Here it is. Okay, if the number to the right is 5 or more, and it's not, number to the right, it ain't 5 or more, come on back home, leave it alone, then just make the rest of them zeros. So my answer now is going to be 36.000 or whatever, but you don't need any of that, do you? So your answer is just going to be 36. All right, number 9, divide, round answer to nearest 10. Oh, it's a two-step problem, so I don't want to forget the second step, so I'll put a little reminder in here. What is that last step there? Round. Okay, now I'm going to write the problem down, hopefully accurately. 13.2. 13 and 2/10 divided by 0.3, or 0 and 3/10. And I switch them. So I put the 0.3 here and the 13.2 on the inside. By the way, I forgot to check to make sure I've written the problem down correctly. Okay, now I have. All right, next step is to recognize that you cannot divide with a decimal divisor, so you put it at the end. There's a 3. Now I have 13.2. I moved this guy 1, so I have to move this guy 1. So it's 1, 3, 2, but you don't have to put the decimal on the end because it's a whole number. Now it's just time to divide. 3 into 1 is 0. 3 into 13 is 4. That's 12. Subtract, put your answer down. 1, 2. 3 into 12 is 4. 12, 0. Let's check our work. This times this had better equal that. And I'll do it over here. 44 times 3. That's 12. That's 12. That's 13. Does it equal 132? Sure does. All right, going to put it in there. Oh, I have to round. That's right. 132. What do they want me to round it to? The nearest what? Guess what? Hopefully you caught my mistake. Interesting. That's not the answer. That's the dividend. The answer is up here, 44. So I have to put 44 in, but they want me to round that to the nearest 10. So underline the 10s. Here we go. Numbers to the right ain't 5 or more, so you come on back home, leave it alone, then just make the rest of them zeros. So your answer is going to be 40. Okay, last question. It just says divide. All right, let's write it down. 0.92, which is 0 and 92 hundredths, divided by 4 tenths. 0.4. Check to make sure I've written it down correctly. I have. Okay, now it's time to divide. The divisor is over here. So you put this guy here. And the dividend goes in this little den, 0.92. All right, what do we do now? Well, I didn't write it down correctly, did I? I took a break for a second there, and I checked my work, and I noticed that I put 4.2 down. And yes, I made that mistake intentionally. The other one on the previous number, I did not do intentionally. That was just literally a mistake. But I caught myself on this one. So 0.4, but I have to have this 2 over here also. I'm just checking as I go, checking. One mistake is all it takes, right? Okay, now what do? I recognize that I cannot divide with a decimal divisor, so I can move it to the end one place. So I'm going to rewrite now. 4, and I have to move this guy one place also. So now my decimal point's right there. So I have 0.9.2. But that looks weird, doesn't it? A better way to write that would be 4 divided into 9.2. Why? Because we don't put zeros in front of whole numbers. Okay, next step. Put your decimal point up here. Now we can divide. Divide, put your answer up, multiply. Subtract, put your answer down. Bring another number down. That's 3. That's 12. And that's 0. Oops, got a little messy there. So I think my answer is 2.3. I think that's what it is. Perhaps a good thing to do would be to put that in. Don't hit enter yet. And then check it. Yeah, let's see. So 2.3, this guy times this guy plus the remainder had better equal this guy. Let's see. 2.3 or 2 3/10 times 4. Line the numbers on the right when you're multiplying. It's 12, 8, 9. I have one decimal place in the first factor, but none in the other one, so I need one decimal place in the answer. It's 9.2. All right, is that what we have up here? 9.2, great. What does that mean? Our answer that I've already put in here, I like this idea, is correct then, 2.3. So if you want an extra credit point, send me an email saying that you actually watched this whole thing. And in the subject line, put the words Ben Franklin, my hero. Okay,